But I think he's a traditionalist, and this is kind of a Hayekian. Hayek was the same way. He views tradition as a sense evolutionary. So tradition has weeded out the bad stuff. Because certain institutions, like marriage, let's say between a man and woman, have survived for 2,000 years, it means it must be good. It's serving a certain function for society to be able to function. So he values tradition because it has been tested, right? This goes to kind of the pragmatism. It's been tested, it works, and we know it works because it's survived, and if it survived, it must be good. And this is part of his argument for religion. Religion must be good because it survived, because everybody has it, because it exists in the East and the West, and every continent has religion. So therefore, it must serve a crucial human function. He can't abstract away from that to philosophy. But instead, he abstracts away to the idea of God has to be there. But he's a traditionalist because it provides order. His biggest fear, both psychologically and philosophically, is chaos. And this is why he hates the nihilists, because the nihilist whole purpose in life is to bring about chaos. It's to destroy order. And tradition is established order. And and it's terrible, but there are glimpses of truth in there, right? Go ahead.
You mentioned sacrifice earlier. He actually, because I've watched a ton of his stuff. He actually mentioned, like, when he justifies everything, like you said, with tradition and like, well, it was important and that's what they knew at the time. And like he talked about farmers killing animals like as an animal sacrifice, which would be something valuable to that farmer.
Yep.
And to me, that's really sick when you start to justify even human or animal sacrifice because it's something valuable to you, and it goes in with all the religion and that's why I'm saying, like,
is he justifying or explaining it?
Was human. Well, I mean,
he's doing both.
He explains it to me. I interpret. Yeah, I mean, he's sort of saying that's what they did because that's what they had at the time that had value, but. That's when I think that when people look at the, human sacrifice and they value that as something positive.
Absolutely.
And to go with with your objectivism, like the fact that you guys talk about having a moral base, like for capitalism, to replace the religious morality and the structure and the ethics. Like he said, Sam Harris is a Christian, even though he's, says he's an atheist because he doesn't go around killing people. I mean, this belief that everything is Christian because of the past, that we're all Christians, whether we think or not. Like, and I know, I totally agree. Like, his fear of like breakdown of society is what he wants to keep all these traditions. So when people latch onto his gender thing, they love that. Or if Sam Harris talks about Islam, people love that, but they don't understand that it's coming from a rational, like just the overall, search for the truth and reality. And a lot of people just grab onto one thing, and they might have ulterior motives or religious backgrounds or whatever that they like to hear certain things, right?
No, I agree with you. And think about the fact that the ultimate sacrifice, right? The ultimate sacrifice, human sacrifice, is Jesus. Jesus on the cross dying for all of us. And he is, of course, in Jordan Peterson's terms, he is the meta hero, the hero of all heroes, the essence of heroism. And why is he, at the end of the day, the essence of heroism, the essence of perfection, the essence of truth, the essence of order, is because he's willing to give up everything, right? To sacrifice everything. So yes, he has this strong altruistic element. At the same time, when you listen particularly to psychological talks, he's also very interested in human flourishing and people being successful and overcoming their psychological problems and overcoming their psychological fears. And being successful in living and in life. And he talks about this. And so he has this contradiction, and all these guys do. I mean, Sam Harris has the greatest contradiction, right? He's anti-free will, and he believes in morality that can be derived from reality. He believes the Izod gap doesn't exist. But yet he doesn't believe in free will. And how can he hold morality but not hold free will? And he believes in reason, but again, and I think the reason Peterson is likely to call Sam Harris more of a Christian. It's not so much that it's also that he doesn't go about murdering people, but also because Sam Harris's morality ultimately, this is why his politics is screwed up, is somewhat altruistic, right? he can't escape the Christian morality because it's all he knows. He can't use reason. He hasn't been able to use it to come up with an alternative to the Christian morality. So Jordan Peterson justifiably looks at him and says, yeah, in morality, you're just a Christian, right? Whereas Ayn Rand is discovered a whole new morality, an alternative to Christian morality, and a complete rejection of altruism, an alternative to Christian morality. So I think Peterson would still say we're religious in some sense because he believes the only reason, I mean, he has this Freudian malevolent view of human nature. It goes back to his Cain and Abel thing. We are murderers. We are committers of destructive activity. The nihilists, see, his view, I think this is true, his view is that nihilism is what's natural. Chaos, it's what's out there. The achievement is the rejection of nihilism, is system, is the system, is it's religion, it's philosophy, it's psychology. And that chaos and nihilism is the default. That if we just left people out there without religion, they would slaughter each other. Then Cain slaughters Abel, right? It is Cain that slaughters Abel, right? Not the other way around. I think that's right. Anyway, so religion is what allows us to be human, because it's what allows us to reject this nihilism, this animalistic. Think about it evolutionarily. It's the discovery of religion that destroys the animal within us. Right? I think he would agree with that statement. Something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I like to push the fact that we humans have a, like you talked about with objectivism, where and even evolutionary psychology, where we had benefits to helping each other and trading things and exchanging. It doesn't have to be just because we're worried about going to hell or some 10 Commandments or whatever it is.
Well, the real value of being moral is that it benefits your life, that it's the only thing that benefits your life, that the moral is that which allows for human flourishing, and that which allows for human flourishing is what's moral. The moral is the practical is the moral. So, it's how we interact with other people. Interacting with them in a just way is moral and leads to a flourishing life. It leads to success in life. It leads to good life. So, it's absurd that you need God in order to have morality. And it's absurd that the only morality possible is a morality of altruism. I mean, that's just all upside down. And this is what Ayn Rand does to a lot of philosophical thinking, is turn it upside down. I mean, she really challenges it. She really, really, really deeply challenges it. All right, thanks for calling. I really appreciate it. And I find it interesting that so many of you have listened to so much of Jordan Peterson. And I can't blame you. I listen to a lot of him too, because I find him fascinating. And this leads me to, I think an important point, and that is, as objectivists, those of you who are out there who are objectivists, I don't think everybody is, but many of us are. It is interesting to be confronted with alternative ideas. It's interesting to be challenged by those ideas. It's interesting to try to figure out what truth there is in these other people. I mean, as I said, I'm not a psychologist. I don't read psychology. I don't listen to psychologists, but I find a lot of what Jordan Peterson says about psychology really interesting. I mean, he had a whole thing about authenticity and what authenticity means. And a lot of it was kind of fuzzy and weird to me, but some of it was really true. And he talked about the fact that a lot of the ideas we hold in our mind, we don't actually own them, in a sense. This is some of my terminology. We don't really believe them because we haven't made them our own. In Ayn Rand's terminology, we're not first-handed about them. We have these ideas in our minds because our parents told us, because our professors told us, because we've just accepted it from osmosis from people around us. And, and he says, wait a minute, to be authentic, an authentic human being, psychologically authentic, psychologically real, psychologically true. You have to make the ideas in your mind yours. So Ayn Rand would say, concretize them, prove them, make them yours in a first-handed way. Not yours because you heard Ayn Rand say them, not yours because you heard Yaron Brook say them or anybody else say them. Yours because you understand them to be true, that you have proven them in reality to yourself, that you've reduced them to reality. All the techniques that Rand and Peikoff have taught us on how to prove our ideas. And then I thought, wow, he's telling this to people, and this is great. He's telling them to be real to themselves, to confront their own ideas, to try to. Now, he doesn't really give them techniques to how to do that, but he talks about being really, really, really authentic about that.